Thumbs up. Thumbs down.
Big Papa Pump needs your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
What else we got? Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Let me in.
Say, dummy. Dummy. Yeah.
Wow. Welcome to the Heelcast post Slammiversary show. What a night. Tonight, I am joined by the one, the only, Goldberg. Goldberg, what's up, man?
Hey, yo. What a show. We got so much to talk about tonight.
My gosh. Yeah. It's just, I thought the show was great. I mean, I cannot wait to just run through this thing, and just so much stuff happened. It's just hard to take it all in, but we're going to do our best.
It's tough to decide where to even begin.
Yeah.
I guess the beginning of the show would be a good start.
It really is. And before we get into everything, I just want to give a couple plugs tonight. I want to give a plug to Wrestling with Wrestling, Andre Corbeil. Andre Corbeil, he puts us on his platform. We're very thankful for that. He's a longtime supporter of the Heelcast. So definitely want to give our props there. Also want to give our props to People's Championship Wrestling. Go check them out. They do like dream matches and whatnot. Look for them on Twitter. Look for them on YouTube. So before we recap the craziness, I want to ask you, did you have a chance, by the way, to read the whole Gallows and Anderson stuff that went on in their final months in WWE?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to see that.
Okay. Well, just to kind of recap it, they just basically talked about what went down their last year before they re-signed with WWE. They were kind of going back and forth with AEW. They were kind of doing a bidding war with AEW and WWE, and ultimately the Young Bucks basically thought they were going to sign with AEW, and they kind of had the whole first AEW Dynamite show booked to have them basically come out at the end and turn heel on the Elite. But WWE gave them an offer I guess they just couldn't refuse, and it was supposed to set them up basically until retirement. And, so they ended up signing with WWE. The Young Bucks had no idea. And I guess, the news broke, and I guess there was a little bit of heat with the upper management of AEW and the Good Brothers. And so that's kind of how that whole thing went down.
Right. Okay. Well, I have two comments on that. One, I'm glad it went down that way because I'm glad where they ended up in the end. And I think they ended up in the right place. The second thing would be, did you see their promo that they cut on Twitter beforehand, before the show this morning?
I did.
Did you see when they mentioned that somebody from a 203 area code may not be too happy about what they're going to do tonight?
203. Is that Connecticut?
That is Connecticut.
Ah, okay.
I don't like the fact that Jericho does that on AEW. I just don't think it's necessary to automatically throw a dig right away at the main company. I'm just not. I'm not. Come out, do your thing. They're two big names. I think they ended up in the right place, but I don't need to already hear a salty dig at WWE. I mean, it's not. We're not on the same level as that yet. We don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need to throw that around yet.
Well, exactly, and we're not. I mean, we've kind of gotten burned out from that. From 15 years ago, TNA, when almost any guy who came over took a shot at WWE.
And they're still doing it to this day. Not even necessarily TNA, but AEW. I mean, Jericho.
Yeah,
that promo he cut about the demographics, and we're just I don't know what it is with these guys. They just always feel like they got to take a shot at WWE at the big man.
And just to kind of like keep talking about that news story, they also kind of mentioned how Paul Heyman, the whole kind of falling out with Paul Heyman happened is they just apparently they thought they were cool with Paul Heyman, but AJ Styles kind of basically said that once he found out that the Good Brothers got released from WWE, he went to Paul Heyman and asked him, "Hey, was this you?" And he's like, "No, I like those guys." And then AJ Styles went to Vince McMahon, all pissed off, and basically Vince just said, "No, it was Paul Heyman."
So I did read something about was it AJ? I can't remember who said that Paul Heyman's the reason that the storylines are falling apart in WWE, and I can't remember who said that. Some wrestler said that. Did you see that? I can't remember who said that right now. Somebody said that Heyman's the reason, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but that it also surprised me when they fired Eric Bischoff so quickly. I feel like he took a lot of the heat for that, and maybe in retrospect it was Heyman and not Bischoff.
Yeah, it very well could be. But yeah, basically AJ Styles after that demanded to be moved to SmackDown, and there's reports coming out that AJ's like thinking about retirement already.
Wow.
But yeah, he's not happy right now. So that is something definitely to keep your eye on. I'm not saying,
I'd love to see him come back home one day.
I would too.
Oh, man.
He's got buddies over here now, so well, you just never know. You never know what could happen. So, yeah, that's kind of the news that's kind of going on right now. There was also another news article I thought that was kind of interesting about Mike Bennett. Basically said he didn't go to WWE rehab. They didn't pay for any rehab of his. He said his wife basically helped him through everything, and WWE never once checked on him.
I gotta say that really surprises me because WWE's been so good on that in the past, and I'm not a WWE fan, but I gotta give them credit when it's due, and they've been so good on that in the past. You see so many wrestlers come out over the years that say Vince McMahon personally paid for their rehab. I mean, multiple times. He's got Scott Hall, I'm pretty sure, has said that, and I don't. No other names are popping into my head at the moment, but maybe you could think of somebody. But I'm sure over the years I've seen
Kurt
so
Angle.
many people. Yeah, okay,
Yep.
That's a great one. I've seen so many people over the years give Vince McMahon credit for that. So that surprises me a little bit. That definitely surprises me.
Yeah, and then Maria went on Twitter today and was taking a bunch of shots at WWE as well. So yeah, a lot of
well,
crazy.
before we get into the show, also I wanted to ask you, maybe if you don't want to get into this today, we could save it. If you saw Joey Ryan's post on Twitter today.
Yeah, so I saw it. It was in one of my message groups, but I didn't watch it yet. Did you watch it?
I watched probably the first 18 to 20 minutes of it. And
it's long. Oh, dang.
It's 58 minutes long. And
wow.
It's him defending himself through literally every single accusation that has come his way. And part of me, through the first 18 minutes that I watched before I turned it off, and I didn't turn it off because I was annoyed. I turned it off because I had something else to do. I couldn't watch anymore. But he literally shows text messages from each of the accusers, which pretty much dispute everything that the accusers say. And, I'll let you judge it for yourself. But when you have that many accusers, it's not a good look. It's not a good look to come out and say, you have one or two, you could say, well, no, they're full of shit. Here's, and maybe one or two of them are full of shit. But when you have 8, he was talking about 8 of them. It's just tough. It's really tough to excuse him for 8 of them. I mean,
wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
But he did. I will, to his credit. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not going to sit there and side with him, but to his credit, he did provide some text messages that really made a couple of the girls who accused him look kind of foolish. And maybe he picked and chose which ones he was showing, but clearly they knew what was, they knew what his end game was, and his end game obviously was to fool around with them, and
right.
They knew it. I mean, the ones that I watched up until the first 18 minutes, and he showed a text message of a girl saying, we're gonna share a hotel room, and him clearly asking her if it's okay if they share a bed, and she said yes. I thought that was assumed, and he said, well, I can never assume, and her response was, yes, we're sharing a bed. That's a little that right there is kind of shows me that girl knew what was going on.
Exactly. I mean, that's not really anything.
This guy really had his career ruined, and I'm not the biggest Joey Ryan fan.
But you hate to see it.
I'm gonna watch the next 40 minutes, but like I read on Twitter, somebody said when you have that many accusations, something's got to be going on. It's too many. It's just too many.
Yep, I agree with that. So
we'll touch on that later after you check that video out.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely make a point to catch it. But I think Michael Elgin may have done a video too, but I haven't watched that one yet.
Check that out then.
Yeah, I think he may have. I'm not for certain, but anyways, we did have a pay-per-view tonight.
Yo, let's get into this.
Crazy. Well, we'll start with this last night, midnight, the announcement that the Good Brothers signed. Did you like the fact that they did announce it early?
I'm kind of torn. I think there's a reason they announced it early, and I think it's because they knew they weren't coming out until the main event was over.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like they were tipping the fans off that, hey, when the match ends, don't turn the pay-per-view off because we're coming out, and we haven't come out up until this point. So do not turn that pay-per-view off. We're going to be coming out. I feel like that was kind of the reason they came out and said that they were going to be on the show. Because I don't really know another reason why they would want to spoil the news. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they had so many surprises lined up that they're like, okay, we'll give you one right now because we'll give you the one where something big's going to happen because we're already teasing these guys, and these guys are big names. So we're already going to tell you, hey, we got these guys coming tonight. Come check us out and come see who else is coming.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. I guess they knew they had so many surprises set up, they were okay with giving one away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that makes sense.
When was the last time you had 9 guys debut? The last time I can think about is January 4th, 2010, Monday Night Impact. When they brought all those guys, Hogan and all them.
That's a show. Yeah, that's a show I'll never forget.
RVD. There was just tons that night.
Six-Pac and Hall coming into the ring sitting in the crowd and coming into the ring.
Yeah. They brought out so many people for that show. But man. Yeah. So obviously the hype was there. So we started off Slammiversary with the Rascals open call out, and that was one match that we didn't get to preview because it was only announced, I think, Thursday, and that was a couple days after we did the show. Me personally, I knew it wasn't going to be the Good Brothers. I thought that was just too obvious. Motor City Machine Guns, if you've been following them on Twitter, they've been talking a lot of TNA lately. And, we got them back. Motor City Machine Guns. Were you pretty shocked when they came out? I know I was really excited. What was your reaction?
Shock wasn't my first reaction. Excitement was definitely my first reaction. I believe, were they touted for that one night only pay-per-view that didn't end up happening?
No, just Chris Sabin was a special guest referee.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Chris Sabin was right.
Nothing to do with Alex Shelley though.
So if we had a chance to preview this match and it was announced prior, I really, the Motor City Machine Guns would have been my guess. And before they came out, I fully expected that music to hit. Like you said, to me there was no chance it was the Good Brothers. Obviously, it was just too obvious. There's no way it could have been them. But I was sitting there trying to think before the match started, who else could it be? Who else could be coming out in this spot? And I couldn't come up with anybody other than the Motor City Machine Guns, as much as some people were probably surprised, but I couldn't think of any other tag team that was coming out right there. Could you?
I had a couple, like, okay, and Motor City Machine Guns were definitely my number one by a lot, but I thought, okay, maybe Rhino and Heath Slater, maybe, and then maybe also Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. That was the only other one I could have thought of. Yeah,
that's fair. But I fully expected those bullet shots to hit right at the beginning of their music, and that's what I expected to happen there. That doesn't take away from the fact that I was thrilled that they came out. I mean, if it was any other tag team, I wouldn't have really marked out as much, but those two coming out really, it definitely fulfilled whatever surprise they had planned there.
Oh yeah, I mean they're one of the top tag teams of all time in TNA. I mean, you put them in Beer Money and America's Most Wanted and Triple X. They're up there. Even the Hardys and they're just.
Oh, it goes. TNA has such a rich history of tag teams. They really do. And they may be at the top of maybe Beer Money is probably at the top, but they would be right there with Beer Money.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, LAX, Team 3D. I mean, there's so many good ones that you can go down the line.
And Tomko.
Yes, even Styles and Angle.
How about the 3 Live Crew? An underrated.
Yeah, 3 Live Crew. They were good. They were good in the beginning.
Maybe one of the best entrance musics of all time.
Yeah.
R-Truth rapping can't beat that.
Good stuff.
At least that's when R-Truth was a heavyweight title contender, man. Now look at him.
Yep. Yeah. Comedy character.
Now he's pinning his daughter for the title.
Oh gosh. Oh man. But the match itself, I loved it. I thought it was pretty good. Motor City Machine Guns looked like they hadn't lost a step. I thought the Rascals looked good.
The match itself I thought it was great. I thought it started off a little. I thought the Motor City Machine Guns kind of had to get their legs under them a little bit, and they did. By all means, they certainly did, because once that match hit the 2-3 minute mark and they got going, it really looked good. I think Chris Sabin took a shot to the chest that he might not have been wanting to take if you saw the way his chest looked for the rest of the show.
I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to watch this pay-per-view again, probably the whole thing.
Yeah, I recorded it. I'm going to watch it again as well.
Because it was like
his whole chest is red throughout the match, and then when they come back out, which we'll get to later, it was also still red. So I don't think he really wanted to take the shot that he took, but they I agree with you, man. They didn't lose a step once that match got going. They looked like prime Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, do you watch any Ring of Honor ever?
I have, here and there.
Okay.
I have.
Okay. I'm not a huge Ring of Honor watcher, but they did reform in Ring of Honor, correct?
That I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
That is the answer.
I thought they did for a few matches, but they added some moves that I can't remember them doing. There was one move that they did that I was kind of surprised by.
And you know what? To their credit, I wasn't sure who was going to win that match until they actually won the match at the end. I mean, there was some near falls and some back and forths, and there were points where I thought the Machine Guns had it won, and then when they didn't, then I thought, you know what, maybe the Rascals are going to win this thing, and they're putting them over. But it was, that's the kind of match I enjoy, where I'm not sure who's going to win the match.
Right. It was very back and forth. You know.
And I'll say Wentz really impressed me.
He did. He looked good.
He really, and that's not a shot against Desmond Xavier, but because he looked good too. He really did. Yep. I mean, he's super athletic. His moves are a little more acrobatic, but he's super athletic. But Wentz really impressed me in that match. Other than Shelley, to me, Shelley was the best in that match. He was number one in that match. Man.
Oh yeah, agreed. I agree. It was great
Overall,
to see Alex Shelley back in Impact. Especially the way he left, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, you just never thought you'd see him again.
But I'm glad.
Yeah.
I have to say, and I don't know where the Rascals go from here, but I am glad the Machine Guns won the match.
Yeah, I think they kind of had to. As bad as it is for the Rascals to take the fall, and I'm glad the Rascals got in there because I think they would have gave the Machine Guns probably one of the best matches, you know. So
yeah, that was a great match to start the card.
It was
good match.
It started off the good vibes, you know. So then we had the Knockouts Gauntlet match. So I know you probably have some strong feelings about this one, so I'll let you go with this one.
Okay, well, if listen, I enjoyed the card in general, but if I can talk something down, it's this match. This match just didn't do it for me, and they had every name in the match, which was good because you got a chance to get exposure to every girl on the roster, but the match itself, I mean, it was a kind of a botch fest, and it really just didn't do it for me. I mean, Johnny Bravo coming out as two different women was so stupid that it almost ruined the match completely.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it did. It completely ruined the match. It was so stupid. And he comes in and gets thrown out by women each time, which was also stupid. And this move at the end of the match, and I don't know if to get to the end of the match, Kiara Hogan getting thrown out and landing on the stairs and then rolling off the stairs because that was her time to be eliminated. And, you know, you can't change what they already had planned, I guess. But the way she rolled off those stairs was so ridiculous to me that it clearly looked like it just didn't look real to me. And I don't know if you could, what are your thoughts on that match before I say anything further?
Yeah, it was sloppy. Katie Forbes getting eliminated. I didn't even notice when she got eliminated. I mean, I was actually kind of surprised she was in the match. I mean, I was kind of glad, like, you know, so we didn't forget about her completely. But yeah, it was sloppy. It really was. I mean, Kylie looked good, but anybody else that I can really think of, I don't know. It was like a standard, you know, Royal Rumble kind of match, but I wasn't really impressed with the ending. And that's what I like about Impact's Royal Rumbles is when you get down to the final two, it actually turns into a match. And usually you get a really solid, you know, final two. But I didn't think this was really that solid. We didn't get the Kylie special. We just got a super kick for the win.
Yeah.
And me personally, I'm not really digging the whole Rosemary fighting with Taya, you know, over Johnny Bravo type thing. I'm just, something's not clicking with this for me.
Yeah, and they don't make sense together.
Yeah.
They don't make sense. And maybe there's something we're missing and it hasn't happened yet, but they don't make sense.
And Rosemary, you know, I like her more of the darker Rosemary to me. That's when I think she's at her best. And I wasn't really digging her attire tonight. That like swamp monster type thing with the green.
Right. It was a swamp monster. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, Johnny Bravo, didn't he eliminate Havoc?
He did. He did. He threw her over. Yep, he did.
And I don't know. I don't know. And here's what's bugging me too. They keep saying on the broadcast that they're talking about the Knockouts tag team titles. But they've been doing this for a while and they have not brought these things back. Like, how much longer are they going to make us wait for these things to come back, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like, get to the point already with this. You signed all these knockouts. It's time to bring those things back.
With all the knockouts they've signed, they've got to bring those titles back.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to. There's too many women in that division to fit into only one title.
Yes, exactly.
But I gotta agree with you. The ending to that match was quite underwhelming. I mean, it was that little super kick.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. That's the way that the match ends. It just
right.
It didn't do it for me, and I don't know. The overall match, it had the names, but it just I really didn't enjoy that match.
Right.
Johnny Bravo made it even worse.
Yeah, that was stupid. That's WWE's comedy crap that was thrown in.
It's like Santino Marella type coming in.
Yeah.
And it just.
I mean, it was kind of funny.
But why twice? You want to do it once?
Twice.
Okay, but twice?
Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't very impressive, and I'll totally admit that.
No,
so, anyways,
to your point though, I did think Kylie had a good match. I thought she was the one girl who I was pretty impressed with. She was pretty good throughout the whole match.
Oh yeah, there's no question. She looked great.
She looked
I
good.
just didn't. There's a few people that should have probably looked better, like Havoc and Susie. I thought Susie just.
We didn't touch on that, and we should, because the way she was eliminated was so underwhelming and so bizarre during someone else's intro that what are you completely burying her? Maybe she's going to change back to Su Yung, but you just completely burying her.
Yeah.
She should have been down to the final 3.
Why was Kimberly in the 4? Yeah, why was Kimberly down to the final 4? It should have been Susie. I think it would have been better if it was Susie and Kylie versus Taya and Rosemary.
I agree.
That's what I think they should have went with. Kimberly, no offense to her, but she's just like there. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't really have any storyline right now.
That's, some women and some men, you just feel like they're there, or some of them have it. And to me, Kimberly, like you said, she's just there. Su Yung, or whatever you want to call her, she has it, and she should have been in the end of that match. The other women kind of were just there, and she's not one that should have just been there. She should have had more of a statement in that match.
I think Alicia Edwards had a decent showing for somebody who doesn't really win ever.
Right.
I thought she had a decent showing. Kiera Hogan lasted a good amount. Tasha Steelz didn't, but Kiera did. So, yeah, it wasn't the greatest match, but I think they got what they wanted to put Kylie over.
Yep. I guess that was their end game, because the overall match itself, and I don't expect much when you get a gauntlet match with women in it, and I hope that doesn't sound bad, but I don't expect much. And kind of what I expected. 5 out of 10 is what I would give them. Just what I expected.
Sure. Let's go Moose versus Tommy Dreamer. I believe this was actually the second match, not the knockouts gauntlet.
You start on this one.
Okay. I actually was pleasantly surprised. I think the no DQ really helped it, but that's Impact being smart, playing to what their wrestlers' strengths are. I was really impressed with Moose, but I really, really hope for Bound for Glory he's not wrestle an ECW legend. He's wrestled Rhino. He's wrestled Tommy Dreamer. He's wrestled Ken Shamrock. I think he wrestled Rob Van Dam at some point. It's like, okay, it's time for Moose to actually, get some competition now. But the match itself, I actually thought it was better than, we were all kind of disappointed that Moose was going up against Tommy Dreamer. I don't think that's not a big shock there. But to say that, I thought the match definitely was better than I expected. And Moose looked amazing. And, he sold too. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd give it like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I think that definitely had to be a hardcore anything goes match in order to make it any kind of match. Otherwise, it would have been boring as could be, because there's no way in hell anyone believes Tommy Dreamer could hang with Moose unless it's an extreme type of match. But I did enjoy the match, actually, and throughout the whole match, I mean, I knew Moose was going to win, but I thought Tommy had some good, he had some good moments throughout the match. But the thing I'm sure Tommy's not happy with, and the thing that kind of got me was the end there with the thumbtacks, where Moose throws his face into the thumbtacks, and Tommy's face didn't go anywhere near the thumbtacks. and the thumbtacks didn't even move. And I'm sure if Tommy could go back, he'd probably put his face right into those thumbtacks. But
right,
it was a good match overall. But I am so underwhelmed with what they've done with Moose up until this point. And I get it. They wanted to put him up against somebody who's known to the wrestling world and maybe tuning in for the first time or giving Impact another chance. But you put him on the second match of the card. He wins pretty easily, and then we never see him again. And he's got nothing to do with the real heavyweight championship. I need to see more from this guy. He's too good for me to only see him on the second match of the night.
Right.
And at least, what do you think about popping him up later on the card, even just to cut a promo and say, hey, who cares about the main event? I have the real title right before the main event, maybe, and just say this. Who gives a shit about this match? This title's all that matters, and anybody with any balls can come get this title.
That would have been good, because then it would have led some more suspense to see who's going to challenge him next. I agree. Yeah. I agree.
I need to see more from him because he's too good. He's too good in the ring. He's too good at talking shit to be on the second match of the night on the biggest pay-per-view of the year.
What if the TNA title becomes like the Intercontinental title?
Well, then I think someone else should hold it, because I think he should be in the heavyweight championship picture.
Well, agree. Like Ace Austin, right?
Yeah, and I just don't see that title going in that direction. I mean, maybe it could. You could be right, but I don't know. I'd like to see it become the main title. I mean, I'd like to see them go back to being called TNA, but I guess that's a different discussion.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it is. That's a long discussion.
Yeah.
For a different podcast.
But overall, listen, it was a good match. But they got to do more with Moose, and maybe they have something planned, but we got to see it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But you know what? Also, this could be Moose's idea to do this too. He may be the one that's driving this thing, and we all shouldn't, because 4 pay-per-views now. I can't even remember who he fought at Rebellion, which technically wasn't a pay-per-view. It was an Impact special. I can't even remember who he fought on that. I think it was Hernandez? Was Hernandez?
He definitely fought Hernandez, but I'm trying to, was that at Rebellion is the question.
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was Mike Elgin and
Moose defeated Hernandez and Mike Elgin.
Yes,
on
okay.
That pay-per-view. Yeah.
Okay. So he's basically fought.
Right. So that was the night that they basically brought that title out.
Yes.
I think.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was when he started carrying it. Yep.
Right.
So, he's been wrestling like.
And here's another perspective. Are they using that title? Was that title just being used because of the situation they're in with COVID and the fact that Tesla didn't show up and couldn't defend that championship? And they needed a heavyweight title match at Rebellion. Could that have been a filler? We don't have a heavyweight title. Let's just bring back the TNA one.
Well, I would have said that's what it was. But Moose came out in an interview and said that the original plan was to have that thing for the TNA No Place Like Home. And he was going to bring it out for the main event. And it was going to be a King of the Mountain match. That was the original plan, and I can send you that link to that interview. And
that should have happened tonight. They should have had a King of the Mountain match.
I agree with that.
Why have an elimination match?
But they were jobbing the King of the Mountain match. Remember, they were kind of like making fun of it before that event. I don't know if you saw that promo, but they were like asking like all the wrestlers like what are actually the rules of this match. I don't know.
Yeah, I did see that.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was, I don't know. But nonetheless, we both agree that Moose needs to, be propped up.
Yeah.
A little bit more than he has.
A lot more.
Yes.
I'm going to go with a lot more. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next match, we had the Impact Tag Team Championships. It was the North defending against Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. And I'll let you start this one.
All right. So I actually was surprised with with how much I enjoyed the match because I wasn't expecting to enjoy this match. And I also was expecting the North to lose the titles, which didn't happen, and I'm glad they didn't lose them. But I thought this was kind of going to be a situation where they wanted a guy on the biggest pay-per-view of the year, a name like Ken Shamrock, to take these titles and put a real name on them, because to the casual fan may not know the North, but I'm so happy they kept the titles on the North, and the match itself to me was above the expectations I had. I mean, you have a guy who's, I mean, how old is Ken Shamrock?
He's 55, I think.
55. I mean, first of all, the guy looks unfucking believable for 55. The fact that he's walking out with a six-pack at 55 is insane. I don't know what regimen he's on, and if it's not the steroid regimen, then this guy, man. The shape he's in at 55 is fucking impressive. He looks better than Goldberg. At his age. I mean, and Goldberg has a gut. Ken Shamrock's walking around with a six-pack, but I thought he wrestled well in the match. He did have a couple spots where he jumped over the ropes and kind of held onto the ropes. Maybe he bailed on that spot, which was a little weak. But other than that, the North impressed me. I mean, they work well together. They've been champs for over a year. But the match exceeded my expectations. What about you?
Yeah, it was a lot longer, and I think obviously, Sammy did most of the driving there for their team, but Ken Shamrock, he had some nice moves as well. The belly to back off the top rope, that was pretty cool. I respect Ken Shamrock for diving over the ropes, but it obviously didn't look great. And obviously the other two missed spots were Ken not breaking up the pin. But, our rebuttal to that is he just got kicked in the head. Him and Sammy were fighting. So maybe he didn't, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he didn't just stop it because of that fact. We just don't really know. I don't know if that's a legitimate or not. And yeah, he did look lost at times, but I honestly think he had one of his better matches, to be honest. And the guy is a name, and that's exactly why he's being used. He's also going to the Hall of Fame this October, so his time for matches is probably coming to a close here. And I'll say the other spot in this match that probably wasn't very good was Sami Callihan kicking Ethan Page in the stomach and then completely missing. It almost looked like Sasha Banks in the Royal Rumble a couple years ago. Ethan Page sold it like he did get kicked, so it didn't look good, but whatever. The match wasn't that bad. And the North winning, I do think, with the fact that we got the Motor City Machine Guns and we got the Good Brothers, I do think that's a good spot to keep the titles on the North. Even though that, this, maybe we were wanting new champions, but now they got more tag teams to face. So I think that's a, solid pick.
Yeah, and I know I picked Shamrock and Sammy to win that match.
So did I.
So the reason I thought also that they were going to win that match is I know they were teasing getting into an argument, and they've already fought each other. They already had their war. So I didn't think they would, bicker during the match. I thought they would get along, and that was just, a little side storyline that, hey, these two rivals might fight each other throughout the match. They might not get along. But I really thought, considering they've already had their feud, I didn't think that would be a reason why they would lose. And I do think that is the reason they lost, because Shamrock watching that pin happen and not doing anything was a weird spot, but I do think it was part of the storyline. Yeah, I agree.
It's, it wasn't like a 5-star classic here, but, I think they did what they had to do.
Yeah, but do you think that the fact that they've already feuded before, like where do each of them go now? Where does Sami Callihan, who's a hell of a heel, where does he go now with all the new additions to the roster? Where does Shamrock go? Was Shamrock just being used during COVID? I mean, where does he go now?
I honestly think, I mean, you would have to think like Shamrock, like when they interviewed him, they said like he was just supposed to do that Bound for Glory stuff and then maybe a little bit after the tapings, and then it was kind of unknown, and he's been doing more, obviously. So I mean, I don't know if he's going to call it quits at Bound for Glory and he goes into the Hall of Fame. I have no idea. Maybe they're going to keep using him after that. I don't really know. That's, your guess is as good as mine. I mean,
so I think they did use him, and not use him. You know, he agreed to it, obviously, but I think that he was being used more than originally anticipated, and I also think Hernandez was too, because the fact that he didn't show up tonight, I think they used him for a lot of filler, like that arm wrestling thing on Impact.
Mm-hmm.
It took up a lot of time that they probably had to cut out, a lot of Joey Ryan shit that they already filmed.
Yep.
And Michael Elgin stuff that they already filmed, and Chris or whatever. So I think they used Hernandez a lot too, and clearly him not being on the show tonight means, you know, he's probably done too with Impact.
Yeah, it's possible, or it's definitely possible. It's hard to say because, you know, I enjoyed them bringing Hernandez back, and you know, I mean, I still think Ken Shamrock looks good out there in small doses. So I don't know. I don't know if they're just, I mean, I would think at Bound for Glory, he's going to have, if that is his last match, he's going to have a send-off of some sort. So I think he would have to have at least one more match, one big-time match, I would think. I don't know who they'd get for that. As far as Sammy goes, I've been kind of disappointed with the ICU stuff. I thought this was going to be some type of stable to take on OVE, and that never came to be, but maybe that had to do with Dave Christ. Who knows? But I just thought this ICU stuff was kind of leading to a stable. I really enjoyed the Impact before Rebellion when they booked all those guys wearing those TV sets on their head. I thought that was kind of cool. But ever since then, I don't know what they're doing with Sammy, but he definitely can't just go right back to Shamrock. I don't think that's the way to go. I think they're going to have to incorporate him against somebody bigger.
Yeah, he's too good of a heel to, I mean, be wasted and go right back into a feud he's already been in. He's just too good to just go back to something he's already done. Yeah, and you're so right about the ICU thing. Like, it's been a total letdown. I was even let down when he turned out to be that guy who was hacking into the system or whatever. Like, it's not like he was gone for that long either. Like it was some kind of mystery guy who was returning after a long time. Like, he's been around, and I don't know, that whole angle is just weird to me. It's been a complete letdown. He's gone nowhere with it. I don't even think he's won a match since he's done that.
I think
Has he
you're
won
right.
A match? I mean, does this guy ever win? He's got to be the worst. He never wins.
Yeah. Well, he didn't even really win much when he was doing OVE, but he always had like.
Go back when we have more time. We got to go back to this guy's latest matches, because I don't think he's won a match in like a year. I can't remember a match he's won. He lost to Tessa.
Yeah.
He lost to Shamrock.
Yeah.
And he talks so much shit, and then he loses to like women. Like, he's too good, man. He's too good to be wasted like that.
He is, but he also makes everybody else look really good though. Like, remember even his match with Pentagon, the hair versus mask match? I mean, that was amazing. And he's just one of those guys that can make his opponent look really good. And I think he likes putting people over.
Right. So you're saying he doesn't have to win.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think he has to. At least with the OVE gimmick, he didn't have to. With the ICU gimmick, it's not really turning out so hot. So he's got to do something to get people to start talking again
as of
about
this
him.
Moment right now, he's at a crossroads where something's got to happen with the character. Otherwise, I mean, it could go one way or another, and they got to do something with him right now.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, the ICU thing's just not really working, and I don't know what, and they've kind of turned him tweener, kind of. He's not really, I mean, I don't know. He's not a full-fledged face, but he's just kind of stuck right now. Hopefully he can get something going. I don't know what that would be, but, anything really. So then next we had the X Division match. Willie Mack defended it against Chris Bay, and we have different views on this. I guess I will go first on this. Chris Bay ended up winning the match and winning the X Division title. I didn't like it. I just think Chris Bay was, I don't know, like he's really talented in ring. He's really good, but character-wise, I'm not really digging it. I thought Willie Mack was, when he beat Ace Austin, I was really happy Willie Mack won the belt. But I just thought his momentum was still going, and they're just kind of cutting it short for Chris Bay, who, yeah, he's their hot signing. I totally get that, but besides Swinger getting heat for him, what has he done heel-wise? And I know you were happy, and you don't think Willie Mack's, you thought Chris Bay has more charisma. So I'll let you go with this one for a little bit.
Listen, I think in the ring, Willie Mack is a better performer, and Chris Bay's great in the ring too. But in the ring, I do think Willie Mack is unbelievable. The things he can do, it's almost like Samoa Joe-esque at his he's a little heavy, but the things he can get done in the ring is beyond impressive. The only reason I thought Chris Bay would win this match is the way Impact has been touting him since day one, since he came in, like he was the next big X Division star. And I feel like they've been, they gave him the storyline with Swinger. They've been pushing him hard. They give him so many promos, so many moments backstage. That's the only reason I thought he was going to beat Willie Mack. I'm not, and he does have some charisma, and I do think he has more than Willie Mack. And I think Willie Mack's bright side is the way he performs in the ring. That's his. That's the best part of his character is his in-ring performance, which is beyond fucking impressive. But that's the only reason I thought Chris Bay would win that match is just the way they've been pushing him.
What did you think of Willie Mack's tribute to Razor Ramon tonight?
You know what? I went outside to get the mail, and I think I missed that part.
Oh, well, I mean, his attire. Did you see his attire?
Oh, you mean is that? Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Okay.
So
he had the vest.
Is there something behind that? What?
I just think he was just showing, paying respects, basically.
Okay, I thought he said something or did something when I went outside for 5 minutes.
Well, he had a toothpick. He did have a toothpick when he came out. He also had the vest, and then he had the chocolate bars look like razors. And then he had his front said Willie in the same exact design as Razor had his.
Okay, so I didn't see the toothpick, cool. So that's probably why I didn't catch on. Yeah, I missed the first. I want to say the first maybe half of that match.
The match was really good.
Yeah.
I didn't. The only thing I would have complained was the ending. I don't know what happened. Like Chris Bay, that ultimate finisher he does. I don't think he hit that. He did something different. But this match was really good. I thought these two. I mean, here's the thing too. Like, I don't know. Maybe some people are downplaying some of these matches because there's no fans. When you don't have that reaction like you normally would get, it changes things.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it through that lens as well. Like, there's no fans there. So I thought this match was really good, and I just didn't. I would have kept it on Willie Mack. No offense to Chris Bay, but he got the win, and we'll see how he does as champion. We'll see how he's going to keep up the heel work, because without Johnny Swinger, I just didn't see much. I just didn't really see. The chase to get the title is just not going to be as good. Like, whereas Ace Austin, you were kind of happy he lost it because of all the stuff he was doing. So Chris Bay's got to find that, I think. And hopefully he can make a successful reign out of it.
I wasn't necessarily rooting for Chris Bay. I just thought he was going to win the match. And I do think Willie Mack is Chris Bay is more, and listen, I guess the X division is an acrobatic division, but Willie Mack, he's better overall in the ring. Not a shot against Chris Bay. I do, if I was booking the show, I would have kept the belt on Willie Mack. That was just my prediction was Chris Bay was going to win that match.
Oh, sure. And that's fine. That's fair. Okay, so we did have some Johnny Swinger stuff in the show. Nothing really too big. We knew he was banned from ringside, but he's been a lot of fun to watch. I've been enjoying his stuff. The signing was questionable, but I think he's turned this gimmick into something really positive.
Yeah, I like Johnny Swinger. I've always liked him, and I think he's you got to have that comedic relief character, and not too many of them, like AEW has. Everybody is a comedic relief character, but you got to have that guy who can, nobody takes him seriously in the ring. I mean, obviously he's lost every time he's been in the ring so far, so we're not taking him seriously in the ring, but he's a character, and that's what you need, characters in wrestling, and he's a good one.
Yep, I agree. I definitely agree. We also had a backstage promo with Rich Swann, who was in crutches. Now, this is where I knew he was ready to come back, because he was been in promos before this without the crutches. So now that he's back, he had crutches back, I'm like, oh, this is just a setup for you to not think something. And then sure enough, we'll find out, we find out later. But that was my thoughts. I knew this guy was ready to come back. I even said it on the show this past Tuesday that he was nearing, coming back, because I knew his injury wasn't an ACL, and I think it was like something else. So it wasn't going to be like, 9 months he was going to be out. He honestly was only out for about 6. So, anyways, thoughts on Knockouts match, Jordynne Grace losing the title to Deonna Purrazzo.
Well, I did pick Purrazzo, and I felt like they wanted to get the title onto on a pretty established name. I feel like that's why they threw her in that title match so quickly. They were pretty anxious to get it off of Jordynne Grace and onto someone who has somewhat of a name. And that's kind of my thoughts. Listen, I wasn't impressed with the match overall. Like, it didn't do much for me. It just doesn't feel as genuine. I don't know why. If you want to call me sexist, but it doesn't feel as genuine as when the men are in the ring. And maybe that sounds bad, but it doesn't, when they're talking shit and I hear Jordynne Grace talking her shit throughout the match, just not buying it. I just don't buy it. And there are women out there who I do buy it with. I do buy when Taya Valkyrie talks shit. It sounds legitimate. She's good at it. Maybe Jordynne Grace just doesn't do it for me. And I am glad they took the title off of her. But, before I say anything else that'll get me into trouble, you take over.
Well, I'm going to ask you one question that may get us in trouble, so quote unquote, and it shouldn't, but do you think her social media is finally starting to be like, okay, maybe she's not the right person to carry the strap and represent the company?
I think that is always the downfall for people who are that outspoken on social media. Eventually it always comes back to bite you in the ass. Just shut your mouth. Just play your character and shut up. But you know what? She's young. I mean, how old is she?
She's only 23, 24.
She's young. She's young, and she's an idiot. And she should let her mouth get her into trouble. And if she heard this, she'd probably call me out on social media.
I'm sure she would.
Yeah. She would call me out. It's just sometimes you got to know when to pick your battles, and she picks every battle. And
yes.
I agree with you. That's gotten her into trouble.
Yes. Well, I mean, with the reports of, maybe even her getting Michael Elgin, ratting him out, and then getting in fights with Sonny, and then just, being super outspoken about this and that and that. It's just kind of like, okay, when does it stop with this person? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It just keeps going on and on and on and on. I'm not even going to talk about what she believes in or what she doesn't. That's not even the point. It's just her constantly, having some type of drama. You know what I'm saying? Like, just always not finding anything positive in life, just always looking at the negatives. And I think that's not somebody I want to represent my to be my champion. And honestly, I just think, her run was actually pretty long. I think she had the title for 5 months, I think is what they said. So I don't know, but I think that may have hurt her a little bit. However, I will disagree with you. I thought this match was actually pretty good. I love the fact that Deonna Purrazzo was working on a certain body part. Hey, ring psychology, it actually does work still. And I was really impressed with Deonna Purrazzo. I thought that move she calls the pendulum, that was pretty cool. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think Deonna Purrazzo, she didn't get really used well at all in WWE, but man, she's improved quite a bit since the last time I saw her in Impact. So I actually thought this was a pretty good match, and like I said, I've said it before, I don't have any problem per se with Jordan in the ring. I think she doesn't have a lick of charisma. I think she's very, pretty bland, but as far as when it comes into the ring, I don't really have a problem with her. I just think she didn't represent the company very well as champion. So, booking wise, I don't know if it makes sense to put a title on somebody so fast, but
they were anxious to do it.
Yeah, I am glad it's.
They knew what they were doing. They wanted that belt off of her.
Yep, and I agree. I agree with that. I think that part of the decision is correct. And Deonna, you know what? They gave her the spotlight, and she's hitting a home run with it. So,
did you watch? Did you watch the package? And I know we touched on this before we went on, but did you watch the package before that match, leading up to the match, where they showed Deonna Purrazzo making her debut?
Yes.
So, did you hear Josh Matthews throughout that package? And this is going back to what he said when she actually made her debut. His call of her debut is, and I know it's just getting off topic, but it was just so bad to me. It was so bad the way Deonna Purrazzo comes in and Deonna Purrazzo lands this and Deonna Purrazzo. He says her name about 5 times in a row, and he beats her name down like. He needs to work on his
emotions.
Surprise, I wasn't buying that he was completely surprised, like the same way which we touched on also before we came on when Nevaeh made her debut. His emotion, his reactions are just not believable to me most of the time.
Well, you got to understand, and where does that come from? That comes from Vince McMahon, right? Like getting in his ear and telling him, oh, it's got to be this way. That's how WWE makes all their announcers sound. And I think Josh Matthews he still kept that part up.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you because I could compare him to Michael Cole. It's just not believable. Believable.
Yes, and he needs to watch more Mike Tenay, Jim Ross from the Attitude Era, Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, those guys,
Yeah.
Heck, even Joey Styles,
But even when they had Madison Rayne join commentary, because I guess it was because of COVID, I'm assuming that she was on commentary, that they filmed that they threw that commentary in, correct? I believe. I don't think that was
most likely, yeah.
Yeah. So even Madison Rayne, I liked the way she was playing the heel announcer, but even her at some points when she was talking about a match and she was saying, oh, well, I think he can come back if he does this and that. If you're going to be the heel announcer, you got to just keep rooting for the heels. And they didn't. I don't know. I guess he's supposed to be the face. She's supposed to be the heel, and they didn't stick to that throughout the whole time. But I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Being picky. Maybe I'm being picky, but
I noticed that she was being more aggressive towards Josh in the beginning, and then she kind of just settled back into the, general color commentator.
Yeah.
So.
She should have stuck with the the bitchy girl rooting for the heels.
Yes. I kind of liked that more.
Yeah,
I agree.
It was working. She has that Vicky Guerrero almost like personality where she could like.
She does. She can get heat. Yeah, Madison Rain's got good mic skills.
Right.
I agree.
Right. And her performance in that battle royal we didn't even talk about was pretty underwhelming too.
Yeah, it was. She didn't get a lot of time, and I think they should use her better. She is a 5-time knockouts champion. I think.
Why? Why was she even in that match? That match there was no reason for her to even be even in the match.
Yeah, it didn't do it. It didn't help her any.
She could have joined commentary for that match rather than even being in it.
Yeah, I agree. Because it just like she just kind of got. I mean, she had that little thing with Kiera, but that was about it. So she's another one. Hopefully, for the Impact taping, she'll get a direction. Yeah. So. All right. I think that's it before the main event, right? I think we talked about everything.
Was that it? That was the.
Yeah. So so then we got because we got the main event. We talked about So then we got the main event. We had Trey, Ace Austin, Eddie Edwards, and then all of a sudden the surprise is Rich Swann, the mystery guest. So at this point, what do you think? Are you pretty disappointed that it was just Rich Swann?
I mean, I was about to hit refund on the remote, so I was a little let down. But then part of me said this can't be it, and I thought somebody else would come out during the match. I didn't think it was going to happen before the match, but I knew there was no way they were building it up to be Rich Swann. There was no way they were going to do that to us.
And then all of a sudden, some new music hits, and then we're like, oh, who's this? And then all of a sudden, Eric Young makes his return to Impact Wrestling
with some weird mask on.
Yes, he did have a weird mask. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've seen a lick of his WWE run. I saw like a promo on NXT, and that was it.
I didn't know he was. I also didn't know he didn't have hair anymore. I wasn't aware he shaved his head.
I knew he shaved his beard off. I didn't know he shaved his whole head though.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of his WWE stuff either, and I'm sure we didn't miss out on much.
No, but I don't think we did.
Yeah, but I was glad to see him come in as a fifth guy, without a doubt.
Yeah, that was that made it for me. I was happy. I mean, I was really happy Rich Swann got kind of elevated because I think before he got injured, he was doing really good things. But I'm really happy that EY got added to the match, though. I think that even made it just way better. First elimination, we had Eric Young eliminate Trey Miguel. I was like, yes.
Expected.
Yes. And then Rich Swann eliminated Eric Young, which you didn't like. But, yeah, I didn't like it that much either. But I loved what he did after that, though. Just
definitely
injuring Rich Swann, taking him out, setting up a feud, and then just basically say, you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself.
I'm going to tell you, Eric Young made that match because without him in that match, it would have been, it would have been pretty underwhelming. His talking throughout he's such a professional, man. He was so good throughout that match. Wrestling wise, and just keep the comments he kept making, like you just said, were so good, so funny and so amusing throughout the match, like, and not jokey amusing, like wasn't funny like a joke.
Right.
Like legitimately, you thought he wanted to fucking kill Rich Swann.
Yes, exactly.
It wasn't Chris Jericho calling out Orange Cassidy with a bottle of orange juice.
Right.
You legitimately thought he wants to take out Rich Swann's fucking leg and he wants to beat his ass.
Or Ortiz, flailing in the orange juice. My God, that was terrible.
Oh my gosh. What?
Jeez.
How when you watch that back and you're Ortiz, do you immediately like hang it up and retire? Or
man.
I mean, that is just
a mockery.
And then he tries to grab Santana and like bring him into it. I don't know if you saw that. And
yeah, I did.
Santana brushes him up. He's like, bro, get the fuck off me. Like, I'm not fucking rolling around in that orange juice. What a stupid segment.
Oh man. It really was. But you watch Eric Young go after Rich Swann, who's another guy who I think plays the face like really well. I think those two are money. They got a money feud coming, and oh man, you did this to yourself. Come on, that is just awesome.
Great. Stay down, Rich. Stay down.
Stay down. You did this to yourself.
So good. So good. Such good awareness by him.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
He's so good. I haven't seen him in a long time, and he really impressed me.
You forget how good he really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
You do.
And then you got Ace Austin beating Rich Swann, which obviously makes sense with the injury just happened. So then it comes down to Eddie Edwards and Ace Austin. This was good storytelling, though, that it came down to them two. I mean, he tried to bang Alicia, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, both guys hit their finisher. You're like, oh, wow. But you got to love the die-hard Flosion. I guess that's what he called it. The Emerald Fusion, or was it Die Hard Fusion? Maybe that's what he was calling it. But yeah, that was a move he used more in Ring of Honor, if I remember correctly. But Eddie Edwards,
it's almost like when AJ Styles, he had his regular finisher, but then back in the day he would use the spiral tap.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yes. But dude, this was great because Ace Austin, it's not like I'm generally, anytime Ace Austin's in the ring, I'm generally rooting for the guy to beat him.
Yeah.
He's doing a good job at being a heel. He really is.
And putting Fulton with him really was a great idea too.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree. I think Ace is just, they're doing him right by the way they're booking him, man. They are making him a legit player. They're they're elevating him up to that main event status, and he's so young. They're really handling him right now, and I really wanted Eddie to win because I think he was the right pick here. Tessa screwed him, so let's go back to something that's more conservative. Let's put the title on a guy who, has taken a bat for the company. Literally taken a bat for the company.
Yeah.
And, put him on, I think this was the right call. Eddie Edwards winning, a feel-good moment. Just a really cool segment. And, before we talk about everything else after, what's your immediate thoughts once Eddie Edwards wins the title for the second time?
Well, I do think Ace Austin, his reign as heavyweight champion will come sooner rather than later. It's coming because I agree with you. I mean, he is you hate him. He's a guy you hate. Maybe it's his look. I don't know if it's his look. I don't know what it is, but I don't like him either. And I don't like him in a good way. In a way that I'm glad I don't like him.
Yes.
So he also looks like, I don't know what it is. It's his hair or something, but he almost looks like a gay woman sometimes too. Like, I don't know. Like he almost looks like a dyke half the time, but he's got that look that'll just get under your skin, and he's doing a good job of doing it. And he talks shit throughout the match too. I really like him. He's
like that young Punk,
Yeah, he's really grown on me because at first I didn't, when they threw him into the heavyweight tournament, and I guess that was their idea all along, to just throw him in that tournament and end up going all the way. But when they threw him in, I was like, oh, really, another X Division guy? But now I see him as somebody who could turn out like, and I'm not gonna say like AJ Styles, because AJ Styles is obviously it turned out to be one of the greatest of all time. But Ace Austin has that. He's not too big. Started in the X Division. I could see him, eventually being a top heel and a top heavyweight, and I'm glad. I really am happy the way they're booking him. Then to Eddie, when Eddie had that crazy persona where he was beating his wife up and he was just fucking beating Tommy Dreamer up and he was beating everybody up, you remember that?
Yes. Oh yeah. That was right after he took the bat. Yeah.
That was my favorite Eddie, and I think he's gonna need something to go along with this title reign, some kind of not just nice guy Eddie. I just don't. I don't think it's going to work. He's going to need to talk some shit. He's something, and maybe he will, because obviously, I mean, we haven't even seen him with the title yet. But he's going to need something other than good guy Eddie. What do you think?
Hey, actually, Impact needs a good guy right now. You know, they were trying to make Tessa that, but that obviously didn't work, and it was a try to shock people. But throughout when I look at my wrestling, I always want that good guy, that goody two shoes, plays by the rules, pro's pro kind of guy. From Hulk Hogan all the way, he was a good guy, to Sting, and I always liked that. AJ Styles was like that. I think Eddie is kind of like that, and I think Impact really needed that right now.
So you could see Eddie playing that role of.
Yes, I think he's going to revert. I think he can bring the crazy.
He may need to change his outfit then. Would you think?
Yeah, to kind of go back to what he was. I think you'll see parts of both gimmicks, to be honest with you, if he needs to bring it out. But this was the right call. It really was. I mean, he made the most sense. I think he was the only one that made sense to win this title, and the way they did it I thought was really good. And then I'm just really happy he won the title again. I think he's a good face, makes a great face.
So I'll say just one more thing. I'll say that if once all 5 guys were announced in that match, if I had to assign betting odds to who would win that match, I would have said Eddie Edwards was probably the favorite, and for good reason. And then I would have probably put Eric Young second and Ace Austin third. But I was surprised that Eric Young got eliminated fourth. But yeah, the way he handled Rich Swann was perfect. It made up for his elimination. And there was no doubt that giving Eddie Edwards the title again you're right. He went to bat for the company. He deserves it. The title should be on him. Let's see where he goes with it. But I don't think Ace Austin's done with him just yet.
No, that's probably true. And Ace is one of those rising heels. And the one thing I'll give Josh Matthews credit for, though, is the fact that he keeps selling that Ace Austin's a scumbag. I like how he says that. It does add to that. So, as much as I'm ripping, Josh needs to get a little bit better at his reactions. But I think he did that. He does that pretty well. But yeah, I mean, Eric Young just came back. He's going to feud with Rich Swann, and I think that's going to be a money feud. Like I said, Rich Swann's one of those guys, if you're looking at a cruiserweight to ever put the title on, I think Rich would actually make a decent champion. I really do. Like, I like his emotion. I like, his charisma. He's another guy that, I'm glad they put him in there, because I think he's proved himself, But just absolutely super happy with Eddie winning that. And what'd you think of the match? I thought it was really good.
So here's one more thing that I was going to say. And the match itself was phenomenal. I actually thought it was really, really good, considering that 3 of the guys were X Division wrestlers. And I kind of almost want to take Ace Austin out of that group, because I think it's doing him a disservice, because I think he's taken the next step.
Yes.
But the other 2, maybe Rich Swann is not really, like you said, maybe he's not an X Division guy either anymore. But to me, Trey, I guess he's just Trey now. He belongs in the X Division. He's not a heavyweight. He's not a heavyweight guy.
Right.
And here's how I would have booked this match. And this has nothing to do with the way that the actual match was wrestled, because I do think they all did a tremendous job. But what do you think if the 5 guys in the match were Ace Austin, Eddie Edwards, Fulton, Eric Young as the mystery guy, and who did I have as the 5th guy? Sami Callihan. What do you think if those were the 5 guys in the match rather than Trey? I mean, I know you like Rich Swann, but what would you think if those were the 5 guys in the match?
Yeah, you would have had to have Sami play the face then, because then you would have had heel overload.
But you got 5 pure
you do
heavyweight division guys. Like
you do. I'm totally for putting Fulton in there because I think that would have been well. I just don't know. I would have put Sammy. I think you need another face for that dynamic.
It would have put Fulton over more because you could have had, even if he's still aligned with Ace Austin, you could have had one of them, for a second turning on the other because we're talking it's for the championship. Not necessarily that it breaks them up, but just the fact that that could be a little part in the match where one of them takes out the other one. But I feel like when you have a heavyweight match and a match like at Slammiversary with 5 guys in it, and I compare it to the past King of the Mountain matches. I know it wasn't a King of the Mountain match, but I feel like it should just be pure heavyweights in the match.
Yeah. No, I agree there. Fulton, I would have been totally fine with. I'm huge on Fulton. Yeah, I mean Sammy's too. I get it because he's directionless right now, and at least that would have put him where he probably belongs.
Even Rhino could have been thrown in that match.
Yeah, Rhino, man, I take bats for him all the time. I think he's
remember his Bound for Glory run back in wow, how long ago was that?
2004
when he won 3 matches in one night.
Yeah, actually, I think it was 6. I think it was 2005. Actually, 2005.
Yeah.
My bad. Yep.
Okay. When he won the gauntlet and he fought Jeff Jarrett in the championship. I like Rhino. So
you remember the story on that, right?
What that night?
Yes.
What there's a reason he won.
Kevin Nash.
Was it
Kevin Nash was supposed to win the title that night. He had a staph infection and
right.
So Rhino replaced him. Yeah.
Yeah, now that you say it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's how Rhino won. And Nash was because it was supposed to be Nash versus Jarrett that time. So that was what the feud was building up to.
I remember Nash being was it Nash that was in a 3-way with DDP? I can't remember.
Monty Brown.
Was that, okay.
Yeah, it was Monty Brown versus DDP versus Nash. Yep. That was actually DDP's last match with
One day we'll get to hear from Monty Brown and what happened to him. One day. Maybe it'll be us that gets him.
Yeah. But, man. So I guess we'll talk about what happened after Eddie wins. He gets attacked by Fulton and Ace Austin. And then finally the Good Brothers make an appearance. They were kind of doing the whole NWO DDP thing there.
Yep.
Where DDP might join them. But then, no, the Good Brothers come in as the face, hit the Magic Killer on Ace Austin. Eddie Edwards takes Fulton out of the ring. They celebrate by drinking a beer. Did you like that the Good Brothers came as faces instead of heels?
Yeah, I mean, to me it was obvious. There was no way I thought they were going to team up with Austin and Fulton and start beating down Eddie Edwards. That wasn't going to happen. But they came to the ring. It had an outsider's feel to it, like it was Scott Hall and Kevin Nash coming to the ring.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, and I'm glad. I don't know what they're doing with Eddie Edwards. I don't know if they're aligning themselves with him or they're just helping him out. But that was that was a good way to make their debut. It wasn't anything spectacular, but it's what I expected.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was just a good way to introduce him. I mean, I thought it made a lot of sense and looked good. And then as the pay-per-view is going off there, we see the promo for EC3. The final shocker, the exclamation point to put on the pay-per-view. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I mean, because EC3 gave off so many, we really weren't sure if he was going to show up in Impact or not because of the fact that he had that video with AEW's logo in it, and it really didn't. I don't know what kind of agreement he signed. Maybe he's going to appear in multiple organizations. I don't know, but I wasn't 100% sure that he was going to show his face or not, and I'm so glad he did. And to me, if he's not going to be on the show, which I'm sure there's a reason why he couldn't be on the show, that was such a perfect way to go off the air and have him show his face and then cut to black and not even to cut to black right after his promo, I thought was really a perfect way to deliver his the announcement that he was coming.
Yeah, I agree. I loved it. I think they had a ton of surprises in the actual event itself. I actually didn't mind having a promo. I think it actually added to it, keeps the suspense going, and now you're going to want to know what the hell's going to happen on Tuesday. So
right.
I love it. And, we're guessing EC3, is he coming in as a face or a heel? I think he's coming in as a heel.
Yeah, I think he's going to come in as just neutral for now. I don't think he's going to be heel or face right away. I don't think we're going to be able to tell right away. My question is, have they announced a taping schedule for Impact?
No, because I mean, there's no fans obviously, so it's just kind of like, I'm sure they're doing one tomorrow and probably Monday. And
yeah, I guess they're going to probably film, multiple weeks in advance again. I just hope, since EC3 wasn't there tonight, I'm assuming they're filming in the same location that they were in tonight, obviously.
Yes.
So I hope he actually is physically, because we may just keep getting these promos for a few weeks. If he wasn't there tonight in person, this may be him just mysteriously on the big screen with these promos until he gets there in person. I hope he's actually physically there on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think they're probably gonna. That's one route they could keep going with the promos and just kind of keep adding that build. But also, have you seen the one where he's on the train tracks with the hoodie? Did you see that one?
I don't know which I don't know.
He wasn't alone. He wasn't alone.
Okay.
He's coming with a stable. If you ask me,
he's coming with a stable, and the fact that they had the 3 shot glasses in the all these promos, and he was one person. So who's the other 2 shot glasses belong to? Who is he aligning himself with?
Oh gosh,
I agree. He's not coming alone. I mean, they originally had just in that original what do you call it? Whatever. In the original thing that they showed, where he was sitting in the chair, and he only had 1 shot glass when they first started showing these, and then now, the latest one was 3 shot glasses. Leads me to believe there's 2 more guys coming with him.
Yeah. Well, plus, I mean, Eric Young. When they said there was a former world heavyweight champion, Eric Young came, but then obviously EC3 was the guy in watching the news. I'm just wondering who's the heck's gonna be his other 2 guys. That one's really got me baffled, because I don't know who's gonna be put with him.
I can't even. I don't know. I can't even think of anybody who, unless it's somebody who's already on the show. I don't.
Yeah, maybe they give some young guys, possible.
So here's one more thing I want to ask you before you wrap up the show.
Yes.
Was there anyone else that you wanted to debut, someone that they teased, who didn't wind up appearing? And let's give a shout out to our boy Tyreek, who was on the last show, who said Kurt Angle. He was hoping for Kurt Angle. Was there anyone other than Kurt Angle that you kind of, or someone that you were hoping, or somebody that you thought was going to appear? I guess either one.
So I said Kurt Angle, no. I gave more credence to James Storm, but then I remember James Storm's been going on Twitter a lot and just always begging for that WWE contract. That was his last run in TNA. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe not. But I wouldn't have mind James Storm. But I really want to see what Rusev can do. I think if they could get Rusev in there, that would be a nice surprise. Just because I think he has a lot of talent. And I think I would have liked to see him come in. Miracle, I'm kind of like, I think the guy was great as the Miracle for that 1 year, but I'm also kind of like, well, you should have stayed with Impact then. You know what I mean? it's not always, the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Right.
So for me, really, it's kind of like I want Rusev to come in, but I was really happy with what we got. I mean, we got Eric Young and the Motor City Machine Guns. Those two I really popped for. Sure, I would have loved. Sure, I mean, if Sting made another appearance, that would be great. But,
that would have been.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have taken the cake. I did like Heath Slater's appearance too. I thought.
Dude, yeah, he looked pretty good. We didn't really talk about that. Him and Rohit going at it. That was good. Yeah. That was good. Rohit was great on the mic.
Yeah.
Mike. So was Heath, though. I thought they both did well. And do you like the storyline that he's put in, where he's kind of like a free agent?
Yeah, I do. I like the way Scott D'Amore threw him out backstage. I thought that was Yeah, I like where they're going with that. I would have wanted to see some kind of aces and eights since they teased it, and maybe it'll happen eventually. I don't know, but
aces and eights at some point. Right.
I do want to see Bully Ray and Ken Anderson. I want to see them back. I don't, maybe it's nostalgia. I don't know, but I think they both could still go, and I'd like to see. They're both unbelievable on the mic, and I'd like to see both. I'd like to see. I mean, D'Lo had that segment. I mean, what was that? Was that refilming some shit they had to delete? What was that promo with D'Lo Brown and that jacket? What was that? What was that?
I think they're planning something with it, because they were going to have him and Mr. Anderson team up on that TNA No Place Like Home show. So I just think there's got to be something. And Bully Ray's a free agent, and I don't know. You would have to get Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff back, but I don't think that's going to happen. But
no,
yeah, they weren't very talented to begin with,
and they're not going to bring back the jobbers of the group. But
but
the two leaders, the two leaders could be brought back, and I love Ken Anderson, so I'd like to see them both back. Other than that, though, every other surprise I was perfectly fine with and pleasantly surprised. So. Until they bring back Shark Boy, I'm good with it. I'm good with everything else.
Well, I don't know what you can really ask for. We're in a situation where you can't have fans. You got freaking 7 returns tonight. 7 wrestlers at least. I mean, you got the Guns. You got Heath Slater. You got EC3, Eric Young, and the Good Brothers.
Right.
You got 7 different, surprises.
Yeah, you can't expect much more than that. From a company that is on a third-rate channel. You really can't expect more from them.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I mean, I know RVE, and I don't even know what he goes by his name. Dude, we'll just call him Dude right now.
Yeah.
They were just kind of ho-hum about the whole thing, and I would read RVE's reactions to some of these matches, but he thought it was decent. That's all he said, was decent. So maybe that's a positive. Maybe we should I'll let RVE explain his thoughts. I would like to be on there when he does.
Yeah, but I want to be there. I'd love to be there too, and hear what he has to say, because. Yeah,
he's not as high on it as we were, so that's for sure.
Yeah, listen, the fact that I want to watch Impact Tuesday, they did their job tonight. They did their job.
Yes. And then let's not forget, we already got the Guns versus the North on Impact for the Impact Tag Team titles.
Which is too soon, because I don't think the Motor City Machine Guns stand a chance. The fact that they're getting a title shot that quickly.
Yeah, or else they change the belts right away and give it to the Guns. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it does. I'm rooting for them, but I don't. I think they really want to. These are Scott D'Amore's boys, the North. Those are his boys, and I think
they are
from Canada. And listen, let's not forget, they also teased a Team Canada reunion, which also hasn't happened.
They did.
So they did a lot of teasing.
Yeah.
But
with D'Amore, Chris Sabin is also D'Amore's boy too.
Yeah.
He wrestled for Border City Championship Wrestling, because that's the Michigan
Right.
You know, Ontario, you know, the Michigan over the border. So
yeah, I wouldn't mind a Team Canada. We could, you know, see
oh,
A1
Petey,
and
right? Get
A1.
Petey
No,
back in there.
what about A1? He was the star
A1. There you go. You got 3 of the 4, 3 of the 5. You could get Johnny Devine back
Johnny
too.
Devine, yeah.
Yeah, he's still out there.
Well, Petey, I think Petey should be wrestling for TNA one way or Impact one way or another. He's still
yeah. I don't know why
go.
he hasn't signed a contract to be back full time. I don't get that, but
he could still wrestle. But
yes. But I don't know. Okay, so you gave it what, an 8 out of 10, the pay-per-view?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. Yeah, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. The only downsides to me were the Impact, the gauntlet, the women's gauntlet,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the heavyweight match. Not that they underwhelmed in the ring, but maybe the names could have been a little different in the match.
I totally agree with you there. We were just talking how bad that main event scene was in Impact. Like,
I also think now that I'm thinking, if they could have gone a different way, I think Sami Callihan should have been in the main event, and I think they could have gone a different way with the tag titles and almost had, you know, a Canada feud even with Petey Williams could have teamed up with somebody to take on the North because it was such an odd pairing of Shamrock and Callahan. The fact that they were going to lose that match, I mean, what was even the point in pairing them up?
yeah, I think that was a mistake because there was, I mean, the fact that they were able to just skip over a bunch of these other teams that have been kind of, you know, in the division, like TJP and Fallah Bahh, the Rascals, and the Deaners, and, you know, Reno Scum and Triple XL. I just think they could have booked that a little bit better.
Yeah. They threw those tag teams into 4-way matches every week just for like, I don't know what that was, but
right.
One of them probably TJP and Fallah really deserve a shot. But
I'm going to give it an 8.5 because you didn't have high expectations, but I thought they over-delivered on that because they were low. But we did know people were coming in. We did know that there was going to be some surprises. So they definitely hit. I mean, you would have told me when all those guys at WWE got released, I would have never thought the Good Brothers would be an Impact. I didn't think EC3 was going to return. I thought he was going to AEW because, you know, he was having dinner with Chris Jericho not long ago. You know, EY I thought was a lock. The Machine Guns, that was a nice surprise. It really was. So, I don't know. I'm giving it an 8.5. I thought it was a really solid pay-per-view, and I felt like I got my money's worth. I'm really excited for Impact. So, good stuff, man. Good stuff. And hopefully RVE and Dude will be able to come on and give their thoughts on how great AEW is and how much Impact just is okay, but
you know, I think that needs to be our next show. We gotta have a little talk about AEW.
We do.
I am not impressed in the least bit with what they've been doing, their comedy act, and
boy,
I would love to talk. TNA or Impact right now to me has the feel of a real wrestling promotion again, and they're trying to take away the stink that was Tessa, and I'll give them credit, and they got me wanting to tune in Tuesday, and I think they're doing a hell of a job right now, and I'm glad that I can proudly watch wrestling again.
Yeah, I think AEW is just directionless as to what they're trying to do, where they want to go. It's just a bunch of, you know, they signed some big names. There's no question they got a great roster, but booking wise, it's less than desirable, and there's just so many problems I see with it. And I don't know. Like I said, I told you before we even recorded, I think AEW in about 5 to 6 months is going to try to reach out to a bigger name that's, you know, and they're going to try to steer the ship, so to speak. We'll see if that happens, but yeah, I don't know. So, all right, guys, in the comments, let us know what you thought of this pay-per-view. Are we overselling it? Are we being fanboyish? I don't think we are, but maybe some will see that we are, think that we are. You let us know in the comments what you thought of Slammiversary, and let us know where we're wrong and where you think we're right on. So, any final thoughts, Goldberg?
Just one, I enjoyed the show. Love our back and forth, and I'm looking forward to Impact, and yeah, I'm glad I can watch wrestling again.
Yes. Right now, their roster feels 10 times better than it did less than a week ago.
So it's, you know what, and we are not overselling it. They did a good job tonight. They deserve credit, and I'm really looking forward to what they've got in store for us.
And no question, and the fact that they're being aggressive in a environment right now in the world that's it's hard to be aggressive in. So I hope they got a lot of pay-per-view buys. I really do, to keep the company going strong. So, all right, we will be back. I'm not positive if we're going to be back after Impact right away. That's my goal. But there will definitely be a show either after Impact or possibly Thursday night. But I think we're going to do after Impact because the momentum is just going so strong right now. So let's keep it going. Anyways, for Goldberg, for Hurls, we will see you soon.